Last week you talked about this race of, not a race, but this giant woman and her son, uh, and
I
the
said an
relationship,
I said an androgynous woman.
androgynous woman.
That doesn't mean giant. Right. Yes.
But there's something about a giant woman, isn't there? In various other narratives and in connection.
There is. Yes.
So do you want to tell us a little, sort of rub the window a little bit more and get that dirt out so we can see a little bit more clearly what was going on there?
The question comes down to, and you know, I've struggled with this for most of my adult life, is who is the man on the Shroud of Turin? Now, here's what we know. For the male chromosomes, there's XX, and then for the woman, there's XY. Okay? The blood work of the man on the shroud is XY 1X. Okay? There should be two X's. There's only one. Who is the man on the Shroud of Turin? And at the moment, I'm going to leave you with that. Okay? I'm going to leave you with that. What's also interesting is that a couple of weeks ago, after the 32nd, I think, or it may have been the 33rd webinar, and I sent this to you, JP, in an email, and I also sent it to James, and I sent it to several other people. One of the listeners sent me a news article that was printed in, I think, the Native American Times, or Native Times, something to that effect. And I have the email. I'll have to look for it. But what it was there was in Turkey, because I was talking about Turkey before, one of the museums in Turkey, the Sermon on the Mount given by Apollonius of Tyana, who was in fact Paul the Apostle or Saul of Tarsus. And I don't give a shit what the fact. Okay? There is a scroll, they have a codex that's written on lambskin, and the writing is in gold. And it has been carbon tested, I don't know, 30, 40 times, that it's around the year between 1400 and 400 and 500 AD. And what's interesting is that it talks about Jesus. And what it says is that Jesus was not crucified. He was not God, but he was a remarkable prophet. And that he was not the one who was crucified. And it specifically states, now this is older than the Sinai Bible, it specifically states that Judas Iscariot was crucified in his place. Now this is between 400 and 500 AD. And then you have the Sinai Bible. And now you have the King James Version here, which has almost 15,000 discrepancies, major discrepancies. And then of course you have the Dead Sea Scrolls that were being translated in different parts of the world in the Huntington Museum here in the United States. And when they started to really get into it, and a different story revolving the Gospels and the Essenes and everything, when it really began to shift from what the church has been saying, the church came in and shot it down. Well, according to this article, the church wants to investigate this gospel and test it for itself and take it back to the Vatican. And the Turks, you know, everybody knows about the Vatican. If there's something they don't like, it burns, it disappears, something horrible happens to it, and then it's gone. Everybody knows this because they have a horrible history of destroying history. Okay, and it's true. I mean, they got to own it. So, but that's interesting. So that's all I can say on it at the time, at the moment. Okay. Next question. I've hopefully given you enough to think about.